Two questions. Anyone else? Two questions. Number one, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Number one, Kabbalah Torah is this week's parasha is Kabbalah Torah. And the Torah paints a pretty interesting picture. There's thunder, and there's lightning, and there's scariness, and there's trembling, and there's dark clouds, and there's pretty flowers. It says, and there's pretty flowers. So that's question number one. Question number two is so imagine that Chas v'Shalom, you're davening in vision, or somewhere, even in yeshiva maybe, and then you're one. I mean, I guess there's two kind of guys, right? After Chazal Shas, and then you hear that sweet tune of they say Shalom, and then Yisrael is Chadash, right? That sweet tune. So I guess there are two kind of guys. There's the guy that like already sat down for Tachnun, and he's looking around like, I'm not an Amaretz, what's going on? Like, I'm not an Amaretz. And like everyone else is wrong. And then there's the other guy who just like wants to, let's go Ashrei, we're going Ashrei, like doesn't lose it, right? So imagine you're the guy that's sitting down, he's like, whoa, what's going on? Well, it's Tachnun now. And so you ask the guy next to you, what's going on? He says, you didn't know? You say, what? He says, it's the new year. It's like, New Year, and Rosh Hashanah was a long time ago, we're in the middle of January. What New Year? And then he says, it's the new year for trees. What? Oh no, it's the new year, again, the new year for trees. For trees. And we're not saying Tachnun because it's the trees' new year. That's why we're not saying Tachnun, that's why. So that's question number two. So Friday night, I was in yeshiva, and I came back, and Tzavakim were talking, and they asked, a question was asked, and the question was, is Simcha, is that, if you don't learn with Simcha, is that an ikkuv, is that going to stop you from getting a kiyum ha-mitzvah of Limud Torah? Is Simcha an ikkuv in the kiyum ha-mitzvah of Limud Torah? If you're not learning with Simcha, does that mean you don't get all the points, right? That was the question. So, interesting question. Where does Simcha come in? So we went to the Rambam at the end of Hilchos V'Lov, and he talks about Simcha. And he says, "Ha-Simcha sheyitzmach adam b'asiyas ha-mitzvah v'b'ahavas hakel j'sivra b'chen avoda g'dolihi." It's a tremendous avoda. Okay, it doesn't say that it's like a chiyuv. It's avoda g'dolihi. So let's have a look. Imam Mishnah says the following interesting thing. Now, someone point out the stira. He says, "Ve'ikar hadavar." This is Imam Mishnah. "Ve'ikar hadavar hu she'ein rawi lo la'adam la'asais ha-mitzvos mitzad she'en chayiv alav ela chayiv la'asaisan." Yeah, you're not supposed to do it inside that it's a chayiv, but you're chayiv to do it. You're not supposed to do it inside it's a chayiv, but you're chayiv to do it. So the question is, what does that mean? So I don't know. This is what I was thinking, and if this isn't true, I think the Yisrael is true. Just like a lot of what I say. That anyone who's at Thursday mornings will know exactly what I mean. I think the Yisrael is this. There's two things. There's a chayiv and there's a chiyuv. A chayiv is when you start like at -1. You start -1 because you're indebted to someone. You're -1. You gave them your 1, and now you're -1, right? And so you have to get back up to 0. You have to get back to even. A chiyuv, lav davka, you're indebted. A chiyuv is that you're chayiv to go weiter, you're chayiv to go further, right? So you shouldn't look at mitzvahs that the only reason I'm doing it is because I'm indebted to Hashem, and I have to do it. I'm a -1, I owe him something, and the only thing I can possibly gain is just getting back to 0. That's not the way how you're supposed to. You're never going to get simcha that way, because you never get past 0. Simcha is going from 0 weiter, going from 0 to 1. That's when you're chayiv, and that's, I think if we do it in the Rosh afterwards, it says, and that's v'yaseh ha'toiv b'tzad shu toiv. You're doing the good because it's good. You're going weiter from 0 plus. Because it's the right thing to do, not because you're obligated to do it. This is the doctrine of the Maggid Mishnah. So, I think this side can be found in this dichotomy can be found. I'm from London, and there's Jeff Fest, and it's worth it sometimes. Never really, but so this dichotomy of 0 to 1 and then 1 plus, I think is the aside of the flower. The aside of the flower. Why? Because a flower has two different avodas. There's two different things that a flower does. The flower has the avodah that it does below the ground, yeah, and then it has the avodah that it does above the ground. Ooh. So what happens below the ground? Below the ground is the avodah which is entirely, it's hard, it's dark, it's scary under there, you don't know what's going on, and it's just it's breaking itself open. It's breaking itself, it's ripping itself apart, it's rotting, I think, actually. It's rotting, the seed rots, yeah? It's under the ground, and then there's the whole, that's one avodah. Then there's another avodah, which is once you're up, you go weiter onwards. You go weiter onwards. You're not, and that's which everyone can see. That's when you get the fruits of the plant. There's like the really hard times, and then there's sometimes the easier times, right? This is the two avodas. I think this is very, very important when it comes to Kabbalah Torah, and this is the whole Torah. This is the whole Torah. You have to understand that. If a person is going to be Makabal Torah, yeah, there's going to be the scariness, there's going to be the hard work. That's like, even the ikka, that's the thing that you see. That's the thing that scares you the most. There's the thunder and the lightning and the, like devastation. And the Goyim thought the whole world was going to be destroyed. Thought the whole world was going to be destroyed. It must have been like ridiculous. That's one thing, but then you get the fruits. Then you get the fruits. So I think that's why there was flowers on Kabbalah Torah to teach us that aside. And what's that? The students or something. Yeah, and then I think Tu B'Shvat is the same idea. It's very interesting. Shvat, the Ayah Yisrael says in Sefer that he brings that there's that I don't really understand this part, but I'm going to say it anyway, that there's 4 different Shemas, there are 4 different Isis in Hashem's name, and every month they have a different combination, right? So in Shvat, the combination of Hashem's name, the first 2 Isis are backwards, and the second 2 Isis are forwards. So the second 2 is Vav and then Hey, the first 2 must be Hey and then Yud, something like that, right? So that means, and this is the whole way of coming on from the middle, the darkness of the winter, and going on into the simcha of Adar. And that's mamish happening today on Tu B'Shvat. Now it's interesting, what does it mean that it's the New Year for trees? What does that mean? Yeah, so that we're going to answer that right now. New Year for trees, I saw that, so there's a Rashi in Rosh Hashanah, there's a Gemara over there, and it comes out a little bit like this. Everything that the rain rained on and is beginning to grow, the growth starts tomorrow. Tu B'Shvat tomorrow. Anything that the rain from Rosh Hashanah, this Rosh Hashanah, onwards, the growth starts tomorrow. That means that there's a whole tekufah of just being watered, yeah, of the avodah underground, and then the growth starts in Tu B'Shvat. Tu B'Shvat is when it goes to the second avodah. That's the second avodah. So it comes out like this. That, firstly, if you want to put any more water in, now's the time to do it because tomorrow's the growth. But there's always these two different dargas of avodah. There's always the darga of the hardness, the watering, the pain, the struggling, and Tu B'Shvat is the beginning of the new year when everything starts. You start to see the fruits of that. So this is what I want to say. So I want to say that thank you, Mum and Dad, because I think go back. So I think, so I want to say thank you, Mum and Dad. Why? Because the truth is, I think I only started most people is probably true. You only really get das. You only start thinking. So for me, it was somewhere in 3rd year, somewhere in the middle of 3rd year. And so until then, it was just them watering me. That was it, right? It was just them watering me. And from then onwards, once you start getting das, so now you can grow a tiny bit. But the Meister, it was a schwer avodah. It wasn't so easy. Yeah, I'm a tough cookie to grow. They had to water me and everything. It wasn't me. It was 100% where I come from. So I want to thank my mother and father. You don't understand, 1 second. I'm an only child. Yeah. I'm an only child, which means that they sent off their only child to Eretz Yisrael 4 years onwards, and they were left by themselves. And they did that because they think that it's an important thing for me to learn Torah. So that was it. We should today, that last part of the watering of the Amelis is always, but from this point onwards, we should always be Paris and Shkrat Mazda. Thank you everyone for coming.